want to talk about something that is a bit scary for me to talk about. I'm a little bit nervous, but I've always worn my heart on my sleeve on this show, and I've done that for 16 years, and I think I'm not going to stop now. But I just wanted to be honest about something and talk about something that is literally never talked about or very rarely talked about. And, you know, I'm passionate about talking especially about women's issues and problems. I have not felt myself for 6 weeks. I've not felt like myself for 6 weeks now. You can attest to this, right?
I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
All right.
Other than I love you, darling.
I have really been struggling. I have been struggling in a massive way. And in the past at The Light, I've spoken about my journey with anxiety and a season of depression I had. And this felt different. This didn't feel like that. I just didn't feel like myself at all the last 6 weeks. I honestly felt like a stranger in my body, and I just didn't know what was going on. I had horrific mood swings. I had trouble sleeping, trouble concentrating. My body was aching. I was full, this is so embarrassing to admit, but just full of rage. And if you know me, you know that's not who I am. I mean, you've heard me on radio for 16 years. I'm a happy, happy woman. I just had so much rage in my body. It was pouring out of me, and I had no idea what was going on. And so I saw my psychologist and I saw my doctor, and my doctor's like, Lucy, you are 45 years old. And I was like, what? No, I still feel 26.
You're like, how dare you?
How dare you, lady?
I want a second opinion.
She's like, everything you're telling me and everything you're going through is perimenopause. And I was like, no, I'm so very young. Isn't that for 70 and 80-year-olds? She's like, no, Lucy, perimenopause starts sometimes, generally, most often in your 40s, often around 45. And I was like, are you kidding me? And she said, no, it's okay. Everything that you've been dealing with the last 6 weeks is hormonal. You're not going crazy. And I was like, oh my goodness, is there anything you can do to help? Because I'm really at the end of my tether.
My husband's really annoying me.
I was like, everyone is causing me great rage. And I've cried every day for 6 weeks. Again, this is not me. And she said, yep, there's many different things you can do. Now, obviously, if you're listening to this, please seek your own medical advice. But what was right for me was starting on hormone patches. And again, I felt like this was something that 80-year-olds did. I was so unaware that it was something that you did in your 40s. And so I've started on, it's called menopause hormone therapy, and it is a patch that gives you estrogen to help with all of the issues. Did you know that, and you're going to love this, Kel, but perimenopause can last, 4 to 6 years. It can last up to 10 years. It's because your estrogen is absolutely fluctuating. 3 in 5 women will have moderate symptoms. So 3 in 5 moderate symptoms. 1 in 5 females will have symptoms severe enough to affect their daily activities, which was me. I was at the end of my tether. I honestly could not figure out how I was going to get through the day. I was an absolute mess. I thought that perimenopause or menopause was just hot flushes. That's what the media tells you, right? That's what movies tell you. A hot flush. She's a lady in her 60s. She's getting a hot flush. And I thought, well, I'm not getting hot flushes. So this is not menopause, but can I just read you so we can all learn together some of the symptoms women get in their 40s? Because I know a great deal of our listeners, in fact, the majority of our female listeners are this age.
Yep, and they might be going through some stuff that they can't quite quantify.
Figure it out. So mood changes, like the rage I was feeling. A rage is, in fact, one of the most common side effects of perimenopause, this rage, just anger, trouble concentrating, headaches, night sweats and hot flashes, but not always, a very sore, tender chest, trouble with sleep, joints and muscle aches, heavy sweating, PMS-like symptoms, rage, forgetfulness, crying nonstop. These are just some of the perimenopausal symptoms, and I had no idea. I had almost gaslit myself into the fact that I was just an awful person. Like the other last week, I was at the end of it, and I was like, "You are just an awful person, Lucy. You've aged into your 40s, and you're just an awful angry woman." And I kept thinking, I just remember when I was happy and friendly, and things didn't make me mad. And I tell you what, going and seeing my doctor has made me feel so much better that I'm not crazy. That there is a crazy amount of hormones either in or not in my body that I need. My hormones are wildly out of whack. I also have polycystic. I have endometriosis. My hormones have never worked particularly well, but I had no idea it was such a common thing.
And the danger would be that if you're going through this wide range of different things that you've told us is completely out of your control.
Yeah.
If you're the only one dealing with it, so it's just your self-talk, that can be very dangerous.
So dangerous.
Yeah.
I honestly...
You need the experts.
Last week, I was just done with everything and everyone, and I thought, how do I go on? I honestly was at the end of it all and just kept thinking, I can't do this for another 20, 30 years, be this unhappy and full of rage. And it came out of the blue. Honestly, like 6 weeks to the day. My best friend, Megan, you, my sister, you were all like, because I said, I don't feel right. And all of you were like, no, you don't. You're not acting how you normally act. And I wondered what was going on. So this morning, I just wanted to speak about this because no one speaks about it. And my doctor, the brilliant female GP, she said to me, no one ever speaks about this. And she goes, and it's something we all go through. We all deal with this. Women deal with it. And I got to tell you, if you're a man and you're married to a woman, you're going to be dealing with it too.
And a bit of research that was done by us behind the scenes, there may be a lot of women who are much older that have gone through this and have not sought help and just have decided, oh, this must be who I am now.
Yeah.
Which is devastating.
I read a case study about a woman who was so full of rage. She quit her job because she just thought, I'm not coping with my job. It's my job making me unhappy. And then she realized it actually was not that at all. It was her hormones. She just needed some help balancing her hormones. I would love to open the phone lines this morning and see if there's any other brave woman who's willing to say, hey, look, I've gone through this. I'm going through this and this is how I'm handling it. Because I feel like the more we can talk about this and remove the stigma, I mean, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. This is just a natural way of women's bodies. As we head into menopause later on in life, there's this period of a decade where we move towards that, where everything starts changing for us. And it's not an embarrassing thing. I mean, I want to be able to talk about this with everybody because I want, if you haven't gotten help, please go get help. Please go speak to your GP because there is help available. I tell you what, I haven't had the patches on for very long, but long enough that I'm feeling like a different person now.
Yeah, and not only is it important to talk about for people that might be going through it, but it's also very important to talk about it for those loved ones and family members and friends that are surrounding this person.
Yes, especially our husbands and our men in our lives to go, hey, like I felt I've apologized to you every day the last 6 weeks because I'd yell at you and then I'd go, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's coming out of me. And Kel has been unbelievably graceful. And I'm so thankful for that I've got a supportive husband. Like ladies, especially, I'd love you to jump on the phone on 1300 777 899. Have you gone through this? Are you going through this? And what words of wisdom can you give other ladies who are in this season of life, maybe in their 40s, where everything is changing?